What I'm about to share with you is a handmade ankle boot from Northampton, England, using traditional shoemaking methods and real leather components throughout. This is the Crown Northampton Everdon. This is the second model in their hand-stitched collection, following the first, which was the Harleston low-top sneaker, an absolute favorite amongst my entire collection. In shell cordovan, the Everdon retails for $883 US, and in non-shell cordovan, it retails for $458 US. A few quick highlights I want to share. This is a hole cut pattern sneaker, meaning the upper is made from a single piece of leather. The only point where there's stitching is where it's connecting the two ends of that piece of leather. This particular pair that I have is made in Horween ink Cavalier leather, which I'll discuss a little bit more later on. And also, this has Lactae hevea rubber outsoles, which are pretty special, and I'll get into those a little bit later as well. Let's take a quick look at the unboxing experience here, much like the unboxing of my Harleston, which I'll link over here if you want to check that out. You get all of the accoutrement with this, which is a spare set of laces, a key fob, and these brushed cotton shoe bags. I've got to say, these are amongst the nicest shoe bags that have come with any shoes, including, made to measure, made to order dress shoes. Let me interject real quick and just make the point, I did not pay for these pair of shoes. I reached out to Mark from Crown Northampton, much like I did with the Harleston, expressed some interest, asked some questions about the boots, and they were more than willing and open to collaborating again. And about a month and a half later, I had my pair of Everdon delivered to my doorstep. What initially attracted me to Crown Northampton about 6 to 8 months ago when I got my first pair is not the fact that they have a superior aesthetic or use superior materials, but it's the fact that they have a passion for traditional shoemaking methods, and they're able to implement those in these casual sneakers more so than anyone else that I've ever seen. Taking this directly from the design story for this new Everdon, the outcome is function first and decorative second. And where the hand stitches are visible, we think they do look rather nice. Apart from Everdon's unique hole cut appearance with French bound finishing, the mid-boot design features full natural leather, vegetable tan lining footbeds as a standard, oak bark stiffeners throughout. This is a hallmark sign of real handmade shoes, not just from Northampton, but throughout the world. Real leather components, real hand-stitched details, and the fact that function is the primary goal of any and all details in the shoe. Let's talk a little bit about the Horween Cavalier leather, as well as the Lactae hevea soles. But first, if you find any of the videos that you've seen here, including this one, enjoyable or helpful, I would really love it and appreciate it if you would subscribe to the channel. That provides like a direct result to the quality and the amount of content that you see on this channel. Subscribing and sharing a quick comment about what it is that you've enjoyed so far and what it is that you're looking forward to see would be extremely helpful. I really appreciate that. Let's get back to the shoes. Horween Cavalier leather. This is a very familiar tannage. So CXL or Chrome XL is a chrome tan leather with a vegetable retanned. Basically, that just means that they have a chrome tanning process that the leather goes through first, and then instead of just stopping there, they tan it again in a vegetable tanning process. With Chrome XL, you're used to a very oily finish. The difference with Cavalier leather is they don't have that extra oily finish and kind of texture to it, but it is still a pull-up leather, and it's a very robust, kind of resilient leather, much like Chrome XL is, with a more vibrant and bold finish. If you're not familiar with the concept of pull-up, this is basically where the leather lightens, where the most pressure is being put on that leather. You can see as I press on the upper here, the finger impression is creating a lighter color blue. And then as I remove my finger and I just rub over it, the color is going to return to it. That is a direct factor of that chrome tanned base with the vegetable retan, creating a very robust and resilient leather. These Lactae hevea soles, it's a very sustainable product, not just in the materials used to make it. You can look that up, just Google Lactae hevea, and you'll be able to learn all about that company and kind of the milk substance or milk kind of base that they use to make these rubber soles. but the performance is as good, if not better, than any comparable soles out there, and they kind of perform as good, if not better, than the way that they actually look, which is just kind of like the icing on the cake here. I got a lot of questions about the fit and the break-in process on my Harleston. While I have only had the Everdon for about a week now, I have worn them a few times already, so I can definitely weigh in at least about the fit, the initial break-in, and how the fit has compared to the Harleston. The first thing I'll call out is I got the same exact size as my Harleston, and that was definitely the right size. There were some nuances in the fit, and let's start with that because I think that's going to be an important note for anybody that already has the Harleston. In talking with Mark and the folks over at Crown Northampton, I'm still waiting to hear back, but my inclination is that it's a slightly different last than the Harleston. When you look at the toe shapes here, and I'll try and pull them up so that you can look at them side by side, the Everdon has a slightly kind of like pointed round or a narrower toe box than the Harleston does. Not narrower enough that you have to change your size, but you definitely will notice it at least the first time that you wear it. Wasn't uncomfortable, but it was just something that I noticed when I put it on. And then after kind of like further examination, I did notice there is a different, whether intentional or not, a different toe shape. Another important call out, at least for me as somebody that has a tall instep, there are hand stitch details that connect the tongue to the facing of the upper. And this is an extremely fantastic detail because there's nothing more frustrating than having the tongue slide to either sides. And this is like a perfect solution for that. But there's 4 hand stitch anchor points. And while it does exactly what it's supposed to do, for somebody like myself with that tall instep, it does complicate or make it difficult to get your foot in there, at least the first or second time so far for me. I passed that feedback along to Mark and Chris. They're going to look into it, kind of figure out if it's something they need to do anything about, but I'm going to definitely keep an eye on that to see if that, subsides or if it kind of exacerbates itself over the coming months. If I take a step back and just think what is my initial thought? What is my initial reaction to the Everdon now that it's in my possession and I've worn it? It's a natural and a fantastic progression of the Harleston. If the Harleston is any indication on whether I'm going to like this or not, it's a very positive outlook. I've got extensive wear and enjoyment, satisfaction out of my Harleston, and I have the exact same expectations, if not higher, for the second model now in their hand stitch collection, which is the Everdon. So far, so good. I would assume that this is going to have a narrower appeal when we look at the broader consumer base out there, as I think the Harleston has a more classic aesthetic to it. That said, the high top sneaker, or the mid-cut sneaker as they call it, definitely has its place out there. It's just a very refined, smart silhouette, and I think it looks really clean. I'm curious to hear what you would choose. If you had to only pick one, would you go with the Everdon or the Harleston? If you made it this far into the video, I really do appreciate that. Appreciate your time, your support. Put a comment below using an emoji of your favorite color. Again, that'll kind of be like an inside joke or kind of a little secret between you and I. And put any questions, thoughts, comments, and I'll prioritize getting back to those or featuring those in an upcoming podcast, which hopefully I'll get out more regularly. I'll be sure to keep you guys posted once I hear back from Mark over at Crown Northampton about the last in the toe shape between the Everdon and the Harleston model. In the meantime, if you guys want to see that video of me unboxing and sharing my thoughts about the Harleston at the time that I got it, I'll link that video up here. Otherwise, thanks again, guys, and I will see you soon.